Okay. We are going live. Fuck it. Going live.
We'll do it live.
We're doing live. Fuck it. That's fuck it. Okay, but fuck it. We're doing it live. We're like 5 minutes ahead of time. Well, 1 minute ahead of time.
Send me the message. I was walking.
Live now. Here's the link. Putting in the Discord announcement so you can get the link there. Fuck it, we're doing it live, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all can hear me right now, I don't care. So it's all part of the Longkang experience, okay?
Hi guys.
Y'all literally paid for this.
We're going to...
And you paid $0 for this.
I'm going to eat a cream puff.
We paid for this.
We paid for...
So we have cream puff ASMR.
It's not a lot of ASMR.
Yeah, I just zoomed in on Jerry eating puffs. The two of you are just absolutely disgusting creatures. Do you know that?
The two of us?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Two of you.
I do not deny.
Okay. Alright.
Pick up your idea, John.
Are we all good? Are we all good? We are all good, right?
I think so.
I'm good.
Okay. My dear Natalie, if you hear us and we're all good, then let me know. And then let's get right into it. Boys and girls, holy shit. It's been a long time coming. When was our last live stream? Was like December, right?
Yeah.
December
Yeah.
17.
Was it 17th?
Why are the two of you so lazy? Please explain yourself.
So lazy. I wanted to do the live stream and then you say no. You said you wanted to do an audio, so don't blame it on me, dude.
So I'm the lazy one.
Yes.
Okay. Jerry, why are you so lazy?
I'm riffing off your vibes. So if you guys are lazy, I'm lazy.
No,
How
that's
come-
not it.
wait,
It's the
how come-
other way around.
Why is it when I'm hardworking,
Yeah,
I don't see you working hard neither, bro?
It's because I'm naturally lazy. So
Okay, so you
Come on.
naturally okay. That's the right answer. Okay, you're not riffing off me. You're just a riff. Okay,
just lazy.
Coasting along.
okay. Use the tape, bro. You have to use the tape. It can't go any lower. You have to twist it down. You have to twist it.
Okay.
You have to twist it.
Ghetto setup.
It's not
Ghetto
ghetto.
podcast.
It's not ghetto. Holy
We
shit.
kind of leveled out a little bit, right? Because we bought new shit and
Okay. Welcome, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Longkang Kitties. My name is John Wang, your most handsome, budgeted man ever on the face of the planet. I am a very organized person. I plan out my days, my hours, my years way in advance of everybody else. Okay, I have a fully loaded budget, and even for the Longkang Kitties. Okay, even this like crackpot operation, this ghetto setup,
this piece of shit
this piece of shit
podcast.
also has a budget, alright?
Yeah, our budget is low.
It's low, okay, but a budget nonetheless. And then we have
Our
NG,
snack budget is $2 per episode.
then we have NG and Jerry behind the huge
Giant
ass.
thing.
I think our snack budget is more than a mic budget.
That's true. I think we spend more on food actually than
Yeah.
we spend on the actual
This should have
podcast
been
stuff.
an ASMR channel, man.
Yeah, man.
No, I don't want.
Wait, can we just like pivot to being like a snack review channel? I mean, we've been like floating this idea for a while now, but you know, like I'm so poor right now that I can only buy the $1 fair price potato chips instead of my usual kettle chips because of the fucking inflation.
Are you receiving
The CDC vouchers?
Are you receiving
$300?
ad money again? Why do all my Longkang Kitties hosts just go behind the back shilling products for free? But only
NTUC, I'm waiting for your fucking sponsorship, man.
I got sponsorship already.
Ayataka, come on, I spent so much money on you.
no, this is not
just send us some cases.
Okay? Y'all
Just send us some cases of the shit for free, okay?
Y'all got to split that moolah, okay? Y'all got to split the dough with the rest of the kitties, alright? You fucking...
Hey, but come on, like, what can we do if we don't shield? Like, our core inflation just rose to 5.5%, okay? The fastest in 14 years.
So
Thanks.
what are we to do, broskis? What are we to do? First of all, this inflation, almost entirely brought about by COVID measures. Okay, you cut off the lifeline of the economy. You say everybody go stay at home. Nobody gets to work.
But everybody gets money.
But everybody gets money. Businesses are still spending. Everybody's still spending money like it's free money. Then what did we expect is gonna happen? Like, did you think there was gonna be no consequences to this?
Yes, of course. Like what are consequences?
Conspiracy. PAP started COVID to inflate GST.
Yeah, I think so.
Kena pofma already, okay?
I said conspiracy theory already.
You can't just throw out, you can't just say, oh, it's just a conspiracy, then I can just say whatever wild fucking shit I want.
It's not a fact, it's a conspiracy theory.
Well, here's a conspiracy. I think Jerry is like diddling animals on the side. This is just a conspiracy, bro. I'm not like slandering you on me.
Suing for defamation right now.
It's just a conspiracy, bro. Alright? Okay, so today we'll be talking about budget 2023. It was our Valentine's Day gift from the PAP government. DPM.
Thanks, we love the PAP.
We love the PAP.
We love the PAP, okay? If there was any doubt about that, cast it aside right now. Okay? We love the PAP so much that we're gonna sit down here and we're gonna like shower them with love and admiration. Alright?
Compliments to the chef.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, chef's
Okay.
kiss.
So we're talking about budget 2023. Now I know none of y'all read the notes. If Dan Wong was here, he would have read it even less.
I read it, okay? I read it the moment I stepped into the
15 minutes
studio.
ago. Okay, fantastic. And then Jerry obviously did not read it. Shaking his head. Okay. But initially, just right off the bat, from what you heard, from what you understand, some initial thoughts. Maybe Angie, since you're the more well prepared one.
Initial thoughts. I think it's a mixed bag. I think some of the measures, instead of relieving these inflation pains, might actually exacerbate it. And then I think some of the measures are pretty good. Like what I do really like about it are some of the extra things given to parents. I think that will make parenting a little bit easier. I wouldn't say a lot easier. I'm not sure if that will incentivize anybody to have a kid if they didn't want to before that.
Wait, Angie, you said something really based and red pill the other night on the Longkang Discord.
What did I say?
I don't have the exact quote right now, but it's something along the lines of, if I'm in charge of Singapore and I want women to start giving birth, I'll take away all their passports and they can't go to school or something like that.
Yeah.
Something
Because hey, give context, okay? Bloody fucking hell.
No, it's based.
Taliban.
This is what we need, okay? This is what we need in Singapore right now.
No, but okay,
Taliban.
like so I was talking to like some of the people in the Discord channel, and we were talking. I can't remember what the heck we are talking about. But it linked to my musings on like what's happening in Afghanistan right now. So, for example, the Taliban banned girls from going to school. They can't go to university. They cannot go get like their health checkups from a male doctor, so on and so forth. So basically, they're all just stuck at home, lah. Right? And they just have no purpose in life except for being a wife and a mother and a birthing machine, like essentially. And so
Base.
no, so I wonder, because with like the progress of nations, right? What you usually see is that as education and as women join the workforce, when they have economic and financial independence, they have educational freedom, birth rates usually go down, and they go like way down, and there's no like reversing this trend. But in Afghanistan, right, and whereas like in countries where women still don't have like very full economic liberation, right, like you see birth rates are still relatively high, like six or 7 kids per woman kind of thing. So I was wondering in my head if we will see a reversal of the downward trend for Afghanistan, because let me just pull out the stats, because I do remember.
I think you were saying I remember you posted in the Discord, and it's something like you went down to 4.5 children per women over
4.75. Yeah. So from the start, like it basically started on a decline during the 2000s lah. So that's
2002, the American invasion.
yeah,
onwards,
around the American invasion. And then somebody in the chat, I think it was Baba, who said that like you can't say that it's due to like, you know, women going to school and la 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 because there was a war going on. But the thing is, like, there were wars going on in Afghanistan for the longest time as well. So and usually in times of war, right, birth rates don't go down because people want to replace the kids that die. You know, like if you have 10 kids, if 5 die, at least you got 5 left. You know,
the returning soldier.
Yeah, it's like the
Returning soldier
boomer, the boomer generation kind of thing lah. So like you generally have like a spike in birth lah. So I was wondering, right? Let's say because these women had all these rights taken away from them after knowing the taste of like, you know, education and like economic independence, like will the trend reverse? Like will the women go back to being birthing machines? Or will they be like, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm going on a birth strike? Which is what a lot of women around the world have done lah.
It'll definitely be interesting to see if the trend reverses and like in how long a time. Like this is a perfect encapsulation of human experimentation, right? Like
I know.
We want to see like, okay, here's 20 years of freedom, and then we've seen a significant decrease. And then what happens once that
is taken away?
Is all taken away,
I think in the history of humankind, we've never experienced this like taking away completely of all these things for women. So like it would be interesting to see if like the birth rate continues to go low because these women already have the knowledge of how to do like birth control and all that kind of stuff, but maybe no access to abortion. Or will it just go back to normal?
I think the security situation in Afghanistan is actually the Taliban took over. Yes, the Americans left. You know, the ANA just disappeared overnight, but they're technically still kind of at war because now the Taliban took over. Then they realized that hey, we got all these little shits that we need to take care of. There's still a lot of fighting actually. We just don't hear about it.
Yeah. I'm saying that like, but I would say that in general, fighting or wars don't change the birth rate.
It's a macro situation versus a micro situation.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest change in Afghanistan, like coinciding with the fall in their TFR, is basically the education of women and them being able to go find jobs and have money on their own and so on and so forth.
Okay, Jerry boy, initial thoughts on the budget, if you have any.
If you have any.
I know for a fact you...
Well, some are good, some are bad.
The only thing that I find quite irritating is the housing side of things. Yeah, and there...
Yeah, I have a big problem with the housing grants.
Wait, hang on. Aren't they increasing the amount of housing grants? Like,
I have a huge problem with the housing grants.
I don't think the increase of grant is solving the problem of runaway pricing. You know, and ever since we spoke about, hey, why don't you just sell the fucking flat back to HDB at whatever price, right? And then HDB can resupply it back, recycle it back to the supply, and you know redistribute it to people who need it. Seems like no one is coming up with the idea because everyone is trying to protect the valuation of the house.
No, like the funniest part is that like the MPs will never.
Oh, they will never.
They'll never ever like admit, right?
They will have a riot.
It's not affordable anymore. Like the cost of resale flats is not affordable.
Don't say resale flat. Even brand new flats are going for 600K now.
Okay. If you want to play the devil's advocate and you can say, oh, if you don't want to get a good location, you want to like live in some fuck all place. Yeah, there are some like affordable BTOs there. Okay, I grant you that. But you know,
are they though?
You still can get like 300K kind of like BTOs.
200K 3-room flats. You know.
Yeah. No, okay, but like they are those options if you want to go for it. But everybody wants to go for the better options, obviously, right? Because no one wants to stay in a fuck-all place.
Not only that, like, you want to stay near your parents,
but the problem, right, is the fucking resale flat grants. Is like they increased, they increased 30K for 2 to 4 room flats and 10K for 5 or larger room flats for first-timer families buying resale HDBs. So if you're saying that like the resale flats are affordable, right? Like they keep saying, it's like, well, it depends what for. Like, then why are you giving such a huge rise in grants? And I think like it doesn't solve the problem of the rising resale prices at all. I think it is going to exacerbate the issue because people are like, oh, actually, now I got extra grant now. I can pay more. You know, like, so I think that's a fucking problem.
Okay,
and then B, let me just go on. I have a problem with the
What
singles.
Pandora's box did I open?
ma'am.
I have a problem with the singles grant. So there is a 15K increase for eligible first-timer singles, okay? And then they define singles as first-timer singles as the Singaporean citizens who have not enjoyed any housing subsidies before, meet the prevailing monthly income ceiling of 14K if purchasing with family members or other singles, 7K if purchasing alone, and do not own or have an interest in private property in the last 30 months prior to flat applications. So if you are single, right, and you're applying by yourself, right, why would you even buy a 4 or 5 room or larger flat? Like, why are you being subsidized for a 5 room or larger flat if you're buying it by yourself? If you're buying it with your parents, is one thing lah.
Because there's no smaller flats in those older estates.
No, that's not true. In the older estates, there are lots of 3-room flats. And I'm just saying that if you think that there's not enough flats in Singapore, you shouldn't be incentivizing single people to own spaces larger than they need.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate. You all know how I feel about HDB. I'm just like constantly ragging and railing on them.
Always.
So I've taken a look into the HDB situation a little bit and came away with a little bit more insight lah. And I kind of shifted some of my initial position on HDB, and the fact of the matter is change is definitely on the horizon in terms of like what kind of pricing we're going to be looking at. Overall, the model of HDB is not going to change. Right? Like we're still going to have the resale flats, and then people are still going to sell their resale flat at market value. So these are market forces that we don't really control, yeah. But the government has instituted like cooling periods, and the current one which is that you have to have a 30-month cooling period. Like you cannot buy a HDB after you sell your private units or your private housing, is going to be very significant. So those will play out in the long term, and it will definitely have a very immediate impact, right, on the pricing of resale flats. Like instantly that there's gonna be a segment of the population that can't buy your flats. You cannot price it the way that it used to be, and then there's gonna be some equilibrium in terms of like how pricing will be structured. Then the second thing, of course, is that regarding wait, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, you were saying like how singles buying large spaces, whatever, right? I think the issue here is we shouldn't control what kind of houses people buy.
No, I'm not. We are not controlling it. What? It's about grants, right? Like if you want to buy a big fucking house for yourself, right, and enjoy your bachelorette or bachelor pad, the government shouldn't be giving you additional subsidies for it.
Yeah. So I always have this issue, right, when they call it grants, because it's not a grant.
It's not a grant. It's
a
you
loan.
pay. Yeah, you loan from yourself to pay yourself back.
Actually, it's not even like loaning from yourself strictly. It's like you're loaning from your CPF.
It's basically it's a discount that will get reimbursed
and you need
if you sell.
Yeah, if you sell it and you need to pay it back plus the interest rate, right? I think.
Yes, correct. So in essence, right, it's not really a grant per se. And then of course, the fact of the matter is that you kind of need to give people the option. Like, what if the only available flat for me to stay close to my mother with dementia? My mom don't have dementia, but let's just say for example, okay, let's just say for example, now I have one elderly father who is broken hip, and then I have one mother who is dementia, and then the only place that I can find that's near them is a 5-room flat. Like what am I supposed to do about that? So restricting options for like very specific things such as this is also not a solution.
I feel like that is a very extreme case.
It is. But at the same time,
and we are also not restricting options. Because like these grants were not this high in the past.
It's basically not giving discounts to people who take up more space than they need lah. It's not telling them you shouldn't be buying this. If you want to buy this, we're just not gonna give you the kind of money that you think you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's basically on you lah. Like if you want to do it, then do it lah. Like, but do it on your own money lor, basically.
Yeah. So the other thing, of course, in terms of like the BTO pricing, right? So I think what they did in the past was they categorized like broadly the housing into 2 categories. So there's a mature estate, then there's a non-mature estate, which word on the street is that they are going to phase out this type of categories. But the mature estate definitely you have like greater amenities, greater accessibility, so on and so forth lah. So then in terms of the pricing, definitely both resale and BTO will kind of like reflect that level of additional benefits for living in a mature estate. And conversely, non-mature estates, right, in order to get people to go to those places. I mean, even like the fact of the matter is, for mature estate, at some point they will start off as non-mature estates. Like somebody have to go there and start building it up from the bottom. Businesses need to go there, and for businesses to go there, there must be people living there. So it all have to start from somewhere. And how they are doing it is, okay, here's a cheaper place, for families that either want to downscale, who can't afford it, or can't afford like bigger places, can't afford luxury, which is what bigger houses are luxury. Okay. And you don't mind traveling a little bit more, you don't mind sacrificing a little bit of your time so that you can save money, then this is the place for you. So there's a broad spectrum of like options. Like here's what you can, here's the option A, B, C. If you're of a certain income bracket, then here's option A, right? So somebody has to start somewhere, and this is, like I say, I don't like the HDB model. I don't think it's particularly glorious, and there's going to be a lot of problems down the line.
Like it's already a lot of problems right now.
Yeah, correct. But at the same time, I cannot fault the government for tweaking and dialing the current situation to kind of like maximize for a bunch of people.
I mean, like we are working with what we have right now.
Yeah,
you
correct.
cannot just like entirely like just eradicate
like
the past measures and fuck everybody in the
scrap the
ass.
whole HDB project and then say, it's just going to go all private now. But then that's like, we just create new sets of problems, right? And the new set of
or
problems
if you do the other way around and you say, okay, it's all going to be public right now, and then like nobody can sell anything for profit, that's going to fuck with people anyways.
Yeah,
right?
correct. So
I know it's minor tweaks, but it's just like, I mean, anyways, they tweak it, right? Like, the future generation is just going to be fucked either ways, I feel.
I just want to rag on Dan a little bit.
Dan more?
Yeah, I just
Sure, go ahead.
Rag away.
So just now we were talking about the grants, right? So many years ago when he was applying for a flat, he thought that, I have access to all these grants.
Oh, so he took everything out.
Yeah, so he's like, if I take everything, then when I sell my flat, I can take all the government money. Then I'm like, no, you got to return the grants. He's like, is it? And he didn't know.
Oh my
then
God.
He's like, oh my God, I didn't know.
But this is also the same guy who used like 2 condoms at once. So, I mean.
This is the same guy who told us Spencer went to the massage parlor and got the,
I mean, I'm not surprised.
So the fact of the matter is the way HDB is being structured now, in terms of like the type of buyer, you're just functionally like, you're one of 2 type of buyer. You're either someone who is going to flip the houses because you can, and not necessarily because you believe that you should, but just simply the system allows you can.
Yes.
So I'm in that category of person. So for me, it's like I'm always looking to maximize any particular system that I'm in. So if I were to buy a BTO, I would definitely flip it. Because why the fuck not? Then there's a second group of people who just like, okay, look, I'm buying a house. I'm going to stay there for the next like 40 years at a minimum. Then when I sell, right, it's for like a very specific purpose. Either I am, all my kids have moved out. I don't really need the space anymore. I want to downsize. I want to right size. The government now call it right size. By the way, now they're trying to avoid negative words like downsize. Okay, like NG, you love the PAP. You gotta use the right terminology. Okay?
PAP is what, man?
It's right sizing. We're right sizing.
Maybe we need to right size the PAP lah.
We need to right size a lot of things, right? We need to right.
No. It's not right. Don't have negative connotation. Not right sizing the PAP is right sizing the opposition.
Okay. We need to right size both the PAP and the opposition.
And then,
so we'll be fair, okay? We are equal opportunity. Although we love the PAP more.
And then Dan Wong is definitely wrong size all the way, okay? This boy is...
There's no right size for...
There's no
right
right for Dan,
okay. So in terms of these 2 type of buyers, then their options will be different. Now in terms of the grants and whatnot, right, then if you're the second category of person, then please go ahead, get all the fucking grants in the world. Because you're going to stay there forever anyway. The money, once you fully pay off the house, the money
yours. You don't have to worry about it.
You don't really need
Even if you lose your job and then you got nothing to eat, at least you got a house.
Yeah.
You know, you can all move into one room and then like rent your other rooms out or whatever. I don't care.
So that is the idea lah. Then for people like me, the first camp, then definitely don't try to leverage all of the grants and whatnot. Maybe be selective about what you do, especially if let's say you are intending to flip, you are intending to sell for a profit or whatever. And then also there's there's some like other things that's like happening in the recent times. So with the waterfront development, right, which is the Keppel area, they have now so there used to be mature, non-mature. Then now there's a third category, something called the PLH or something like premium lease housing or something.
It's like the
premium
fucking
land
atas
housing.
places.
Yeah, and those places, first of all, MOP 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay? So in the past it was MOP 5, right? So 5 years you have to stay inside. No
singles allowed to buy these fucking BTOs, motherfuckers.
No backseas, and you have to stay inside. You cannot be like away, and then you can only sell upon the 5th year, completion of the 5th year. But now with the new, I think it's called PLH.
I just call the atas housing, atas BTO.
Okay, with the atas housing is 10 years MOP. Then another thing, right, is that you can only sell to another Singaporean.
Yeah, you cannot sell it to like PR or like
you can't sell it to foreigners. You can sell it to
I
PR.
think this is great. What and I think it's a good initiative because I think it's Desmond Lee, right, who proposed this, because the problem is they don't want there to be areas of Singapore where Singaporeans cannot afford to be in, right? So like for example, like these atas spaces, usually the land cost is astronomical. So then you have a gathering of fucking rich people there, right? So like they're kind of trying to mix in all these like regular Joes and those atas rich fucks, right? But the problem is, right, they don't let singles buy at all in any of these places. We are already not able to BTO for mature estates. We cannot BTO for these like atas fucking BTO. And I think it's just really unfair, honestly speaking.
Yeah, so the only option is the resale law.
Yeah. Which then, like, as a single, right? As a single
place, as a single, you cannot buy.
Yeah, you cannot buy. Like, and like, it's so fucking unfair because it's not like I pay less tax.
But that's what you were saying just now. You didn't want the singles to have like the premium or the.
No, I'm talking about like grants. I'm talking about grants. But BTOs, we are only allowed like 2-room flats.
Wait, hang on. One of your gripe was that you shouldn't, like, singles shouldn't have this spacious.
No, but if they have like two or three, like 2 rooms.
I think what she's saying is, if a single wants to go for these premium houses,
they should pay for it.
They should be able to while not getting the grant.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying okay. So singles, right? Resale and BTO is different. Resale, as a single, you can buy any size that you want. As a single and you want to buy a BTO, you're restricted to 2 room flats only.
Yeah, bachelor pets.
Okay,
yeah.
So if they're building 2-room flats in all these like estates, right? All these fucking atas estates, then I think singles should also be able to, BTO for them. Like, why are we kept out of all these places?
I have not seen the architectural plans. I don't think they're planning any of these single 2-room pets.
I think they should, because, and you know what? I think this would be a really great social initiative where you just have a fucking block of singles and old people. And then these singles have to go and help the old people. And then they'll have like regular fucking sessions where they come together. And then you have like a single mixer in the flat, right? And then they can just go to each other's house, fuck around, and then maybe find a boyfriend or girlfriend, right?
And pop out some babies to help out the TFR.
Motherfucker. And once you get married, you move out all those flats, then you have like 2 extra vacant ones for new singles to move in. Like, does that not make sense to you? Like, where are single people supposed to Where are single people supposed to go?
It makes any fucking sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, none of this makes sense.
I'm just saying.
By the way, when we're talking about singles in this particular context, most of the time, right, okay, I will say about 60-70% of the time, we're talking about gay people, lesbian women. Right, we're talking like those are the people. First of all, they are single. They definitely don't want to stay with their parents, and they are the ones who have shitload of disposable income. Okay, these people, they are.
I would say you're wrong. Like the percentage of people who are remaining unmarried and choosing not to get married is increasing at an exponential rate.
Yeah, I mean,
so there will be more and more of people like me.
I would say,
and the government is not doing shit about it.
Angie, while your idea is great, right? I don't know if the younger singles will want to be reminded of who and what they are going to become by mixing with the older singles.
I don't think they give a.
block.
I don't think they give a shit. I think they just want like affordable places to stay in.
But that is true. That is true.
Like, you think I'm gonna give a shit about like my neighbors or like the aunties and uncles around me and be like, oh my god, I'm gonna turn into that? No, I just want a fucking place.
Hang on. But if that's the case, then you should not have any problems living in like the corner of Singapore. Like one of my gay friends, he actually got a flat 2-room in Punggol, and he's very happy. He's like extremely happy. I'm getting it.
You know what I think? I think singles, right?
Next year, I think.
I think singles should get more proximity housing grant to their parents, because singles are usually the ones taking care of their parents, not the married siblings.
Oh, he doesn't get along with his dad, so it's fine.
Okay,
I'm just
ladies
saying,
and gentlemen,
statistically.
we have a special guest. Hi, Reggie.
Hi, Reggie.
Hi guys.
Can
Hey,
you
Reggie.
hear,
Can you hear me?
my good friends Jerry and Angie? Just
Hi, Reggie.
Can you hear us?
Hi guys.
Oh, okay.
I
guess you
can. Can you hear me?
yes, we
You're
can
Yeah,
good.
loud and clear, loud and
We can
clear.
hear you just fine.
Okay,
Reggie.
great, good stuff.
Thank you very much for joining us. You are the chief financial coconut. Wow, I love that name. He's the new CFO.
Nice. Is that a new
Thank
like
you.
promotion or something?
Promotion? You mean like is it, no, it's just like a brand kind of thing, right?
Okay.
It's part of the financial coconut, the branding and how you.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite cute lah. People find it funny, and I work in the finance space, right? In that sense. So yeah, to them this is very outside already. You know, like very fashion forward already.
Okay.
So yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Once again, thank you so much for joining us. So Reggie is the host of the Financial Coconuts. I think you are like easily the top 5 biggest podcast in Singapore right now. So thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for taking time to join us in the Longkang and talking about budget 2023.
Nice. You know, when I first started the podcast, someone asked me, "Do you know about Longkang Kitties?" I was like, "What? Longkang Kitties? Who come up with such a name?" And then after that, I realized you guys are interesting. We're very politically active, so love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We
yep.
only exist to spread our
Well,
love of the PAP.
We're only politically talkative, not active.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think,
Alright, that's a good start. That's a good
I
start.
think one of our guys, Dan Wong, will also guest appeared on one of your episodes as well. I don't know if you.
Yes, Dan and Lydia, they did a great job. Really amazing. They almost stole the show.
Is it by doing inappropriate
Nice.
things? I hope not.
Please don't encourage them.
Yeah, don't encourage Dan Wong.
Don't
He's
encourage that.
he's the nastiest
No,
among all of
actually-
us. Yeah.
I really think they do a good job. So yeah,
Okay.
lovely.
Okay. Fantastic. So maybe Reggie, let's just dive you right in as well. Oh, by the way, once you need to leave, you just let us know lah. No obligation to
Sure.
stay. And then regarding we were just talking about just getting our initial thoughts on budget 2023 we were deep diving into HDB and whatever, but the original plan was to get some initial thoughts on budget 2023 upon reading it, upon hearing it as a Valentine's Day gift from our DPM. Reggie, your thoughts, please.
It's not a very gift lah. I mean, I think I
You
went
mean
on
it's
other
not a
shows.
Valentine's Day present for us?
Yeah, I was like, no lah, better not lah. So, okay, so it's I feel like it's a PR optics problem, right? In the sense that if you tell people you're gonna give them a gift, then people are expecting like a gift, right? Like give me something serious, like a gift, you know. But a lot of the things that he proposed is very much adjustment centric. It's like, okay, got inflation, right? Then I give you a little bit more so that you get adjusted. You know, or you cannot get this right. Okay, I give you a little bit more so you get adjusted. It's not like a gift, you know what I mean? So to me, it's a very PR problem. I don't know why. I don't know which genius came up with this idea of like, oh, this is a gift.
Probably
You know,
an
it's like,
advertising agency, I guess. But Reggie,
Yeah, probably.
what's your favorite bit from the budget 2023, and what's your least favorite bit?
Favorite bit
Is there any measures that you're like, oh my god, this is genius, it will completely solve the problem?
Okay, so I think the problems that we are facing these days are very complicated, right? It's not complicated in the sense that firstly, it's very hard to solve. Secondly, it's no matter what strategy you use, you're gonna hurt some people, and then you're gonna lose some votes, lah. Right? So that's the reality of the problems today. I think maybe the one that I I quite like is raising the CPF ceiling. Right, so people will be like, "Wow, you CPF pay a lot of money, this kind of things." I'm like the bigger problem here. I do think is HDB and not CPF, and if they can be separated, it's probably a little bit better.
When you say separated, do you mean like?
Come again?
When you say separated, do you mean like not paying like your HDB with your CPF money?
Yeah, in a sense that. Okay, now the thing is, the government never say you have to use the CPF money to pay HDB, right? But the HDB costs so much, right, that you have no choice, right? The CPF is like you have to use it, right? In that sense. So it's like I never force you to do it, but there's just this money sitting there in my retirement account, and it can allow me to pay the flat. So I'm incentivized to do it. I think that's a general idea of how people do it. And as the musical chairs of HDB keep going and prices keep moving up, and all that jazz, it creates a lot of uncertainty for your retirement. Like with the first Ang Mo Kio thing, to be fair, I think they themselves are not very clear how to end this thing. And neither is any of the opposition party, right? It's like these musical chairs that what's going to happen, nobody knows.
Yeah, I think it was WP that brought up the fact that the goals of HDB and CPF are kind of at odds, right? Because if you want to kind of pay for your house with the CPF, then you don't have money for your retirement unless you sell your house.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is the current situation, right? I mean, that's the current situation most people are experiencing. Right, and we cannot run away from this reality. Although, like I said, the government never force you to do it this way, but no choice, right? How much you make, how much CPF take, you need to buy this house. So everybody just does it, and this becomes a cultural equilibrium. Everybody does it this way. And I do agree with what some of the WP people are saying, right? Essentially, you are perpetuating this uncertainty of like how the HDB prices move will directly and indirectly affect your retirement, right? And that becomes like, why do you want to circulate these two things together and drive more and more uncertainty down the people, right? And I think that's the part that it's problematic lah. But if HDB aside, okay, which is a problem in itself, I think raising the CPF ceiling is good in the sense that it's keeping up with the times. A portion of Singaporeans are making a little bit more money today, and I think the median wage went up, right? Somewhere like 5. But I know median wage very jumbo lah. Also some people that had to get.
Yeah, it's
median is a very difficult thing to gauge, though.
Yep.
Yeah, because in Singapore we actively try to recruit people who earn a lot of money. So
it's true. It's true. I think that's a fair point, right? And to be fair, a lot of the PRs they are middle upper. If not, they will not even get PRs to begin with, right? So.
Yep.
Well, maybe let me start with something because. One of the points that you raised up was that the coupling of CPF and HDB seems to kind of like bring us into this like vicious spiral downwards, right? Then
yeah, it is.
But then, what is the way I see it is that CPF is our money to begin with. I mean, a lot of people like imagine CPF, right, as like separate from their bank account, but
because you can't touch it.
Yeah, but in essence, right, what actually happened is your actual salary is 117% of what the employer actually offers you. If you are paid for $1,000 a month, your actual salary is $1,170. And so in essence, so let's say we top up more to the CPF, right? Then isn't it like we're just also kind of like shifting the buck around? The 1170 doesn't run away. It doesn't go anywhere. It's still the same 1170. No matter you put some part of it in this bank account or you put some other part of it in another government sanctioned bank account. The money. So I guess the crux of my question is, if not CPF, then what else is it for in terms of purchasing a house?
Yeah, so which is why I understand people do it, right? I understand why people are doing it. It is what it is, because 37% of your income goes there, right? So 20% yours, 70%. But to me, I just see it as one lump sum lah. So I get why people do that, and I get the comfort to know that you put the money in, it just moves along, your life carries on, all the cash you do whatever you want to do, right? So it is a situation. I don't really know what other strategies can be done in that sense, from a structural perspective. But yeah, it is to me the bigger problem, like I said, is HDB, less on CPF. But the problem with CPF, right, that I recently talked to a lot of people about this. I think the biggest problem with CPF is it keeps changing its structure. Not a big overhaul, but change this basic retirement sum and these other things.
The age of
Keeps
your
adding
drawing
over
all
time.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it creates a lot of it's like this partner that is not very consistent, right? And then people will be like, hey, so what did I sign up for? And I cannot really veto this thing directly. So I get why people are very angry about it, or like generally have general disdain over CPF, right? But I ask people, it's like, so if don't CPF, then are you gonna manage your own money? And if you're gonna manage your own money, then what are the risks involved, right? And the complexity of managing your own money is there. It is quite difficult, right? So I mean, from a personal finance podcast, I can tell you that there are a lot of nooks and crannies in it. There'll be some people that can do it, and well and good. Right? If you can do it, it's good. It's like not everybody can draw, right? Some people just draw really well, some people just cannot. And so like some people that manage money, they can do it really well. But for everyone else, are we gonna privatize it? I'm not very sure. You know what I mean?
The crux of the CPF matter seems to like the constant shifting of the goalposts in terms of the CPF, right? I mean, we can kind of like trace all of it back to the falling birth rate. I think the CPF model was built based on we're going to have an increasing number of young people where their CPF contribution will support the older generation. I think the most cost center for any like government programs are entitlement programs, and retirement seems to be one of the places where if there's no so-called like the younger generation pumping in money to support the older generation's retirement, and especially in a time when CPF started, it was like Singapore was quote-unquote third world country, and then so they were earning third world wages, and then now they need to retire in the first world. It seems to be the nature of the problem seems to be within the model of CPF itself. If you don't have young people coming in to supplement the old, then we are going to this is an ever growing problem.
Okay, so a few things, right? The CPF actually started before the country became a country, right? And I don't know how many of you guys know. CPF is a colonial structure. That's why Malaysia has EPF. I think India has EPF also. Hong Kong has something called NPF or something like that. It's the colonial powers that refuse to pay pension to the local people because they didn't see the colonists as the same, right? They see them as part of the colony, right? So you pseudo slaves, whatever you want to call yourself, like whatever, okay? So it started as
plebeians.
so
The unwashed masses,
right? Whatever you wanna identify with is up to you. Yep. But that is how the structure started. That's why they got the local merchants and the local people to put together your own quote-unquote pension, right? So that's how the CPF structure came about. Of course, the Singapore government took it and ran, right? So they ran with it for many, many years. And to be fair, in the early days, you're so broke, right? You really want to create a pension scheme for the people, it's quite hard, right? So as it develops, the country becomes wealthier and wealthier. So a lot of other problems come about with this wealth disparity. And I mean, I hear you about the whole like, oh, there are some people that they didn't make that kind of wage. Now they got to live in such a city, blah blah blah. Right. So I think that is a fair statement. As to exactly what is inside, nobody's really sure what is inside. And I think that's when all the ideas and all the stories can fester, right?
I think it's the issue with how they can like promise interest rates on your CPF retirement, on your basic retirement sum. That I mean, as a financial person, it doesn't make sense that for sure year on year we're gonna grow this amount of money for your retirement.
Okay. I tell you this is the interesting part. This is different, So I don't know how many people know, but actually what happens is CPF buys a special bond issued by MAS.
Yep.
Right? So CPF doesn't invest in the market. Okay? What happens is MAS will sell them a bond that is uniquely to the CPF account, and then MAS takes the money, passed to GIC and Temasek. Okay?
Yep.
So whatever GIC and Temasek do does not fundamentally affect the payout that MAS will give to CPF. Why? Because MAS essentially controls the money printing machine, right? They can keep printing. There's no real it's like you lend to the person that it's like you lend rice to the person that plants rice, you know. What is the chances of the person not paying back? It's not that it's impossible, but it's highly unlikely, right? So I think that's the part that people need to realize, that it's not like the money that is CPF is not directly invested in the market. You're going through an intermediary, which is the central bank, that owns the rights to print money. They can just take a piece of paper and draw it and say, nah, hey.
Yeah, but that also has consequences, right? In terms of actual inflation, when we do quantitative easing, the value of money goes down over time. It's not an immediate thing.
Yes. That's why. But we got to be fair that we are very tight on that front. We don't do QE very often.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, that's one of the things I appreciate about the PAP government. I think there's a lot of governments around the world. They are quantitative. The first port of call is always quantitative easing. Got problems? Just print money. Let's go. The money printer go. The meme.
Yeah, recently I was talking for a contract with the tech company, right? And then they were telling me, oh, you know, your competitor in Australia, you know, they charge us this price and it's in Aussie dollar. I was like, so? Then they were like, Aussie dollar is cheaper. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't realize because I don't really go there. I only been there like when I was a kid. That was like 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And back then Aussie dollar was like what 1 to 1.3 Sing.
Yeah.
Right now it's like 0.92.
When I was studying, it was 1.3.
So all this QE rubbish is killing all these like big established economy, right? And that is a part that we gotta give it credit lah when it's due lah, huh? So the government does practice a lot of prudence in that sense lah.
No, I think like especially over the pandemic, you can see like the fluctuations in the global currencies, and then like all the historically strong currencies have been like weakening quite significantly.
It's true. It's just horrible, right? And this is the part that you gotta give it to the PAP in that sense, right? Or if you believe that it is separated, give it to MAS, right? They are doing a good job in what they do to protect.
Is it separated, Reggie? Do you have inside information as to whether?
I don't know.
I thought it's all just one giant machine, like one giant PAP
I don't
machine.
know, right? Like
is it just a hydra? No, it's just like, well, actually, it's one head and another head, like
all connected to the big
all
head.
connected to the big body.
Okay. Let's be clear on this, right? As with any organization, as the organization stay in power for longer, they will have leaks in the whole place lah, right? It's very normal one, right? But I don't know exactly.
Very careful there.
Are they separated or that? But at least you can be clear that the MS office is not within the Ministry of Finance lah.
Okay, so this is the part where we all speak in legalese and be like, yeah, I know.
Just to tell you
this is just our opinions, bro. This is just a conspiracy theory, bro.
Yeah. I know. That's the part. That's the part that I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah. So I actually, if you ask me, right, I mean, on the topic of CPF, right, and I think one thing that people need to realize that for the longest time, CPF is a you do you problem. You know, if you don't make enough money, right, it's your problem. You know.
I think even in the past, like. Wasn't it this is the story that I always tell, by the way. I don't care if it's true or not, but wasn't it in the past where you get your CPF in one lump sum, then this one dude spent it all on like some Vietnamese mistress, like he blew it all, and then that's when the basic retirement sum came in, like kicked in, and then they started to disperse it.
Because clearly we cannot be trusted with our own money. All at once.
So it's back to the nanny state situation, is it?
Go
for it.
My question to you is there any downsides to the raising of the CPF ceiling?
I mean, the downside is really you don't get back your money now, right? So I think, and from an individual downside, I think that's the main thing. Right? You don't get back your money straight away. You get essentially it gets dispersed over time. But I do think this brings us to CPF Life, right? Which is an annuity program, right? To put it simple, you get your returns every month lah, in that sense, right? When you retire and the CPF life kicks in.
Yeah, my dad's very happy about it. He's like, oh, I get this X amount every month.
Yeah, so they give you X amount every month depending on how much money you have in your CPF, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that a lot of people don't realize is when CPF Life came about, right? I think it was 2012 after they lost the election, right? So after that, there was a lot of like policy changes after that. Like, I think the groundswell is real. Till date, I think the groundswell is real. So the CPF Life actually is a step forward in terms of the government taking initiative or coming in to take responsibility for a part of your retirement. Because in the past, right, it's just you and your employer. At the end, you take back your money, it's your problem already. You know, or you take back 65, you know, whatever. It is the government does not participate in your retirement at all, right? They just slowly give you back, maybe a little bit of interest on top of it. That's it. But CPF Life is an annuity program that you take till your death, right? So, and then of course you have to contribute a lump sum, yes, at the end with your retirement account. But you don't know how long you will live, right? That's a real thing. No one knows how long we're going to live. And if you go and look at the NUS has an elder, I think it's called CARE. There's a research arm, NUS CARE, is essentially a gerontology, study old people one. So the old people studies suggest that millennials are very likely will live to centenarians. Right, so 90 plus 100. So and you're not sure how long you're going to live. So with that uncertainty of how long you're going to live, right, the CPF Life actually is the state coming in to say, okay, regardless of how long you live, right, I'll pay until you die. Right, so
the joke,
the lump sum, that is true.
The joke here in the Longkang is that Jerry is 300 years old, so he's been collecting the superannuation for like 200 years plus.
He can keep getting it. He will be the one that's value, very value.
Very worth. But as a result of this, I think also, so it's possible that the research arm that like yielded these results, and then the PAP kind of like saw the need to increase the ceiling as a result of higher retirement needs in the future. If we are going to live even like a 2 to 3 year increment in like lifespan, average lifespan can drastically increase the cost. And we're talking about like such long periods of time, spending decades, your savings and whatnot.
And then let's not forget that
when we got to be real, right? We are not as valuable already. At some point in our lives, right, we just have to sit the center stage, right? It's very hard for us to keep monetizing ourselves all the way. Yep. You know what I mean?
And not to
I think that's realistic.
I think like the other thing is like the older you get, the more medical problems that you have, and then in Singapore, medical costs is like insane, and I think we have one of the lowest healthcare spending in the developed worlds, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the part that I think is interesting. So CPF is one thing, right? But which is why actually I talk to a lot of the CPF people. I don't speak for them on their behalf. But I don't speak for their behalf. I cannot represent them. But a lot of times when I talk to them about other things, they roll eyes on. Because it's like not my problem become my problem. You know what I mean? Like healthcare costs. They manage MediSave. Yes, it's under MOM. I don't know how many of you know that CPF is under Ministry of Manpower. Okay, so they manage MediSave, yes. But as to how much the hospital charge, right, it's nothing to do with them. It is MOH problem.
Yeah.
Right. So and that's the part where we no longer have public healthcare. We have restructured hospitals. Right. And that's the part that I think a lot of people don't realize, and it can be quite a problem because in other words, restructured hospital means got private interest inside, right? We want to seek profit, right? We want to make money out of it.
Correct. And the thing is, like, because our money supposedly is kind of locked in our MediSave, right? Like, okay, you could have like private insurance as well. But let's say you want to use your MediSave, right? You are not free to use it as you wish as well, like to pay for your medical costs. Yes. So like there are caps to what you can pay per treatment, per time. And I think, like for example, if you have cancer, you're about to die already, and then you're like, sorry, you cannot use this sum in your bank, in your CPF because in your MediSave, because what if you don't die? Then next time you need more medical fees, then it's like, it's just a whole bunch of.
It's a whole cesspool in itself. Yes, this one I understand.
Like a whole episode.
And there's no simple solution out of that, right? I mean the idea of policy, or like maybe when you set any systems or any policies, you at some point you have to draw a line, right? And the line needs to be debated and actively debated, right? So we got to keep debating this back and forth. Hey, the ground has changed. Things need to change. You know.
Yeah.
So and I think that's what we are doing, right? We're not like flaming anybody. We're just saying, hey, that maybe the line needs to be shifted, right? So and it's part and parcel of pushing boundaries, you know, being heard and organizing. But if you are the person in charge, you also have to draw a line. And where is the line, right? And I think that's the part that sometimes I feel the parliament can debate a little bit more, because these days I feel like a lot of character assassination.
What?
So much on the merits of the
actual
policy
They're just
itself.
making snide remarks at each other. It's like, thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Singh,
it's
for
like-
agreeing
it's like a
with my
trend, huh,
policy.
these
It's like,
Oh, did you see like I just saw a video before I came. It was Leon Pereira in Parliament, and he was like, "Are you laughing at me? Are you smiling?" All right.
It's like, you know, it's a when taunting is a strategy lah. But Leon, I think he really cares about.
I love
cares
Leon.
about that lah.
Leon's my favorite like MP in the whole entire parliament.
You say in Serangoon North, is it?
No,
No.
I wish I did. I wish I did.
she's an East Side girl.
Yeah,
She's-
I'm like
Yeah,
Tampines.
A lot of my
forever.
friends are saying Serangoon North has very good feedback about him. So yes,
Yeah,
that
he's
is
the
great
fucking
stuff.
best. He's a great dude.
Okay.
Yeah. Fair.
Shifting gears a little bit, let's talk a little bit about from CPF and HDB, let's shift gears a little bit into the budget's intention, right, of like upgrading the local workforce here in Singapore. There seems to be a lot of money that's being there's a lot of there's a lot of emphasis on like for example, okay, let me just switch.
2.4 billion to progressive wage credit scheme
Let
for
me just switch
lower
my
wage
screen.
workers.
Okay, great. Okay, so the people in the
4
live-
billion to the National Productivity Fund, 1 billion for customized support for promising local companies under the Singapore Global Enterprise Initiative, extra 150 million via SME Co-Investment Fund.
But maybe we
Did I
start
miss
with,
anything?
that first, which is this kind of like neoliberal stance, right? On
You say that like an insult.
yeah, I fucking hate the neoliberal the ideology. But anyway, so the stance being that a government should actively promote businesses or promote capitalism so called by investing in them, placing money in them, supporting them with additional infrastructure, so on and so forth. So Reggie, your thoughts on like this money being set aside for developing local businesses?
Okay, so I think I understand the neoliberal ideology. Luckily, I know what are these things. It's not how I'm going to talk to you about it. so
Just talk about it,
so I
as you always
understand
do that.
where it's coming from. It was pushed by Thatcher, Reagan, all of them like in the 90s.
Yep.
So I think there are you see a lot of semblance in the Chok Tong era, where they let the property market float, they welcome more foreign investors, more foreign people, all that jazz, right? So I do understand where that comes from, but for a long time I struggled with this idea. Like, is there the question in my head is, like, is there a difference between local capital and foreign capital? Okay, and for a long time I was like, capitalists are all fucked up, they're all just not make money.
Your point.
I'm a business owner also, right?
Okay, wait,
Right,
hold on, Reggie. Can I
and
just
then
like...
after that, I thought about it. I think right. Actually, there is difference, there is difference between local capital and foreign capital, right? Because if the local people, they live here, they are immersed in the environment. They live in Singapore. They are here. Their kids are in the school. They care about the roads. They care about how the environment is. They care about the whole thing. You can say they high MIT, they stay in Nassim Drive, right? Which is not wrong, lah. Nassim Drive, Sentosa Cove, Bukit Timah, right? That's why build MRT, cut through all of them. It's the best, right?
I agree.
Once you build an MRT and cut through the atas area no longer becomes so exclusive. But that's a different discussion.
But Reggie, do
So-
you make a distinction between like government like capital and then like private capital, or are you just talking in general about local capital?
Like private local capital. Yeah.
Yeah, so to me, there is a difference between private capital and public capital, and also local capital and foreign capital. Right. So
okay.
the thing here is the public capital is actually quite strong, right? Because of the Land Reclamation Act in a long right, the Land Reform Act a long time ago, where we took back all the land and then we established our own businesses and all that. But over time, I think our public capital, whether you can say it's capital call, or like FTH or whatever, right? They got lazy lah. A lot of them got lazy. For whatever reason, not all of them are capital continue to grow, expand abroad, some of them got lazy, and when they get lazy, then they start to eat into other places, right? Because those are the easy places to go into. They no longer spend time, they no longer spend money to invest in risky, development or like things that will get us to the next level. It's like how we essentially forego the whole high-tech manufacturing in the 80s and the 90s, right? Because those things require a lot of money to go in and uncertain outcome. But you see Taiwan, you see Japan, Korea, some of those countries, they benefit from it, right? Even Malaysia is benefiting from the manufacturing supply chain that they have, right? So it is a choice, I would say.
But do you think that
so it is what it is? But yeah, there is a world of difference between people that live here, they own the capital here, they donate to the schools here, they want to groom the people here, and compared to foreign capital that just wants to make money and they go around the world trying to make money. And I'm very sure when our local capital go abroad, they also act like foreign capital. They're not interested in the local environment. They just really want to profit, want to make money out of it, right? So it is a inherent structure of it lah. So I think sometimes when people say capital got no home one, I was like, 很像不是. I think capital has a home. It depends on where the capitalists stay.
But then, okay, let's take a look at the local government, like when they spend money on all these enterprises and whatnot lah. Wouldn't it just kind of like create a new type of game where the nature of your business, right, just needs to be catered to
getting the grants instead
KPI,
of being a good business.
Correct. So they kind of just
essentially the entrepreneur problem lah.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Is that? I didn't know this word. I didn't know this word, but okay, I know several businesses that are like that.
We're stealing this term.
Okay,
thank you, Reggie.
entrepreneur. Yeah. Okay, that's a new term.
Yeah.
Thanks for introducing it to us.
Yeah. So the thing about entrepreneur, right, is it will exist lah. It will always exist lah. Anywhere, if I don't know if you understand Teochew. I was just very amazed the other day when I suddenly realized a lot of the Chinese dialects, right? They all have this idea that wherever is easy we go lah, which is quite easy to understand, right? So if you throw out a grant, everyone is going to look at it as like, how am I going to get this grant, right? So it is what it is. But if we see from the effect of the overall grant, in the sense of how it impacts the country, how it moves things forward, I think that's a better way to look at it. And to be fair, there's a lot of grants that failed, a lot of initiatives that failed, a lot of conversations that didn't get us anywhere, over the past decade or two, right? So, but I think some things have changed for sure.
Like what was the PIC grant? I think
the PIC grant was the worst. Man.
Yeah, I think wasn't there like a report that says something like don't know how many several millions were basically misappropriated by the business people that basically just write in grants. By the way,
there were businesses that exist just to help you get the grant. It's insane.
So
yes, there are.
I
mean, even the Skills Future also got people that just exist to get old people to go for training and then just to get the grant money out. Right? So those things are there lah. And any new grant, okay, let's be clear. Any new grant, you will have that for sure. So it's how hard the government clamps down. I think that is one thing. And also, we cannot lie to ourselves that if the government is very hard-handed in terms of its clamping down, then people may not participate in it as much. And that's a reality, right? If you clamp down very hard, then why would I want to participate? It becomes scary. I'm not sure what I do is okay. Sometimes maybe I'm bending the rules, but I'm not outright breaking it, but I don't want to participate. So not protecting all these entrepreneurs. I don't like them to be clear. I was like, you're very annoying, doing shit, wasting time building lousy websites, useless apps and all this rubbish. I don't know what you guys are doing, but it is inherent in all structures that once you throw out this kind of money, there will be wastage, and I'm sure the government knows that.
I think we can. I think we can kind of like be all right with a portion of wastage, but I guess my question would be: is this actively helping for business in creating an environment where businesses can thrive and actually be competitive within Singapore and the rest of the world?
Okay, great. So that's a good question. I think for a long period of time, what the government does is they just throw money. Right,
they're still doing it now.
Right?
Yes, they haven't stopped.
Throw at me, man. I want all the money thrown at me.
Problem, okay, I throw the money and then y'all see what you're going to do out of it. Right? So there's a lot of throw money. And to be fair, right, I do think that because they don't really know what they were doing. I mean, you look at just 5 years ago, the government ads were shit. Like a lot of the ads, right? Like every agency has an app, every organization has an app, and all the UI suck. The UX is horrible.
I have to say this improved a lot.
The apps are better, right?
Yeah, a lot better. Oh my god, I love the SingPass app.
SingPass is great. Health Hub is pretty good.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that is a whole process of learning that they themselves gone through, right? That's why if the government apps are shit, how are they going to regulate whether the apps that are being created using their grants are going to be good? So I do think there's a process of learning there, but let's be clear, the days of PIC I believe is over. Where you just throw money out there, and let the market determine itself. I think the government has woke up and learned that these kind of ideas don't work. So then they create things like Go Digital Ambassador. As much I find it funny, right? I was like, okay, these are like essentially like intervention methodologies, right? Where we allocate a grant, but we also set up a system to kind of distribute the grant in a more targeted manner and work with people that are essentially making it work. But the whole process of trying to get more entrepreneurs to participate in it, right, is also a cultural shift that needs to happen. Because every time you think of like working at the government, your eyes roll like, hey, very mafan, you go do this, do that, a lot of problems. But then if we the people that know how to do this shit, we don't do it, then we are just essentially letting the entrepreneurs do it right? So can we work on both sides to be like, okay, we know how to do this shit. Can the government also make it simpler for us, to work with the agency or work with the grants, simplify those processes, which I think they are doing, although a bit slow.
I had a friend who was like a funding agent, and her whole job was to just process funding projects for like people who apply to the grants basically. And then she said that because it was targeted towards creatives, and then creatives hate paperwork, so like they had very low sign-ups, to the point where they had to go out and find people to apply and try to convince them to apply for the grants. And then even then, they didn't have a very good take-up rate because everybody's like, paperwork, I don't want to.
No, here's the funny part. Like you always see all the people at SWF, all the NLB government-related art shows and whatnot, right? Those are the same few people that keep putting in the work to get the grants. That's why they're up there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I mean, I totally understand, right? Because as a creative myself, right, I also hate the paper. Right? I go into GBs, I'm like, fuck this UI. What kind of rubbish is this shit?
Oh my god, this is the... Okay, if the government spent like a few million to upgrade the fucking GB's like whole system, I wouldn't be mad about it because it's so fucking shit.
You just trigger NG, Reggie. Yeah, you just trigger the shit.
Every time I go in, I look at it.
The thing is, okay, let's
kill somebody.
A lot of us creatives, right? We have this we are a bit a snob in our own way lah. We look at this, what the fuck are these people doing? We know how to do better, but we don't want to participate because very much fun, right? So, and that's the part that I think the government needs to step up a little bit more, and I think they are, right? In the past, right, it's really just we set the budget, you also come and apply your tai chi, you apply, you don't apply your problem, right? Now, like these kind of things are like people go out there and then, hey, we have this grant, would you like to apply? Essentially, that is like we add a distribution layer on top, right? Now, before that, we only have grants, or we have like whatever incentives that we want. But now the government or the agencies, the different agencies, they also realize that, we maybe need to hire a few people on top of this to go and propagate these things and like make it easier for the people that are good at what they do to participate, right? So this is I would say a cultural shift, and it's not like one agency doing it only. I see it with other agencies also. So yeah, let's see how that works. And I think for us, we try to participate a bit more lah. Then we crowd out all the entrepreneurs, right? Then the next time come like, hey, this is rubbish lah. What are you doing? Like you must give them new standards. I think that's the idea lah. Because I think you guys got it right. It's always the same few bunch of people doing shit work lah. That is my take on it.
So basically what you're saying is that like the good people should apply for these grants to crowd out like all the shit people.
Yeah, if we just sit around and say like, the grant very mahuan, which is true, okay, the reality is true. Very tiring to get the grants, then we continue to let the shit work fester. Then we like, you see all these people don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's like, come on, can we then take it in our stride to go there and get the shit done, right?
So basically,
these other people.
It's all NG's fault, because NG don't want to take up the grant. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. Okay, so moving on from so-called like passively, setting the money, putting in grants there. Let's talk about the progressive wage model.
Yes.
So the progressive wage is as opposed to grants, right? There's a more active approach. They are just simply saying, look, all you companies out there, we know like what kind of staff, what kind of people you have hired within organizations, within your structure, so on and so forth. And these are the people, this group of people, you need to increase their salary. So it's kind of like a very narrow, and not say very narrow, but it's kind of like a selective minimum wage for for like some targeted group of people.
Like I think it was last year where they were kind of debating this in Parliament. Yeah. Because the WP was like, hey man, we need a minimum wage, and then the government was like, hey, here's the progressive wage credit scheme.
So I think the Workers' Party was advocating more of a general minimum wage across the board.
Yeah.
For all Singaporeans.
And this is like a step-by-step progress to get there, I guess. Yeah.
So the progressive wage, also for the benefit of our listeners, basically, let's say in the past, a cleaner would earn maybe say $1,300 a month. So from last year September,
which is impossible to live, right?
Yeah.
Which is impossible to live. Just saying.
So from last year September until now, I think February was the deadline. You have to increase it to something like 1,006 or 1,000. I can't remember what's the precise, because every job scope have a slightly different minimum wage now, or the LQS are the lowest qualifying salary. So yeah, maybe Reggie, get your thoughts on this. Then after that we can also move around the table and see what everybody have to think about this.
So at first when I saw this progressive wage model, right, in my head it's like, walao Taman, you're trying very hard, it's like you're trying to say that you're minimum wage, but you're not minimum wage like that, So but over time I thought about it. I'm like, okay, quite interesting. You know why? Because when we use words like minimum wage or even things like lockdown, right, we are essentially being embroiled in all the international rubbish, right? Whatever other countries are saying or whatever the media propagates, it affects, because words do matter, right? Depending on what you use. So I think the genius part about progressive wage model is you're essentially a minimum wage, okay? By all measure of it, right? You flip it up and down, left and right? It is a minimum wage. But you don't get embroiled in the discussion of minimum wage, which is a very important discussion all over the world today, right? As to the exact technicalities of like, okay, is this enough? Can we do more? Is this bottom line too low? Can we raise up? Can we do faster? Can the government step in? Blah blah blah. All those things, right, can be engineered to be better and maybe more targeted.
It's more logistical problem rather than a practical problem.
Yes. So those logistics, or maybe even like, why 1.6? Why not 2? Why not 2.2? Right? Those things, I think, all can be an active discussion that the people that believe in labor have to push, right, and to push harder, right? So I think those are there, and the structure is built. I know the people that believe in universality, like universal systems, will have a different position on this side, because universal is very easy, right, to implement. It's very easy. Just say, okay, tomorrow onwards, everybody 3,000 is a minimum wage. Then all goes out, right? But as to how it plays out, it gets very complicated as to how the market plays it out, right? But that's a different discussion. At the core, I think what I want to say is that Singapore has a minimum wage, right? In that sense, progressive wage model is a minimum wage. As much as the PAP will refute, and then even the WP refutes that progressive wage is a minimum wage because of the technicalities involved. But it is essentially the government saying, okay, we have minimum wage. Right? So,
Angie, any thoughts?
I don't disagree with it. Yeah.
Angie, any thoughts on the PMV?
PWC. PWC. So I think the one part of this like employment support thing, right, is that there will be higher government co-funding. So basically, like up to if you're earning up to 2.5K a month, it increased from 50% to 75%.
Oh no, that's the differences in the payout. So if you were earning, let's say last time you were earning like 1.3, then now it's 1.6, right? So there's a $300 difference. The government will pay you the difference. In the wage. So it's not like not the gross amount, but the
yeah. But like I think I don't know if this is going to be a problem down the line because right now the government is effectively subsidizing this sort of like wage, right? So
yes.
I think what will happen down the line is that it might stagnate the wages for these people because there is an incentive not to increase it, if you know what I mean. Yeah, because
that's kind of the flip side of the even like in other countries where when they are debating about minimum wage. So the flip side of the argument is often, well, if there's going to be a minimum wage anyway, then why not I just put it all to the minimum wage? Like there's no room for negotiation. Even if you're a slightly better skilled worker, you have a higher ability than let's say the rest of your peers, I'm still going to just benchmark you at the minimum wage because what's the point of negotiating?
Yeah, but I think in other countries, the minimum wage is not co-paid by the government, if I'm not wrong.
Well, we are only being co-paid until 2026 or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bridging period, essentially. Yeah. So, I think, I don't know if that's going to be a problem. But I think in general, for now, it's a good thing because people do need more money to pay for the things, like all the inflation stuff. Because right now we just increased 1%, right, for our GST, and then next year there's gonna be another 1% to taking it to 9%. And I often wish, I just wish that they did it all at once because now you do 1%, right? My taping is from 120 it went to 150. Then the next year I think it's gonna go to 180 or something. If you did it all at once, right, at least when they increase it, they're not gonna go 180 all at once.
They are increasing it by 20% to cope with the 1% increase.
Yeah, exactly. So there's gonna be.
So annoying, right?
I think next year is gonna be worse because they're like, not a 4, it's 1% they have to pay. Then everybody increase. So if you did it all at once, right, at least we just gonna hit one time. It's so fucking annoying.
All right, Jerry, any thoughts on progressive wage?
I don't think I have anything more to add. To be honest, it is what it is, and if you raise it up to the level where to let them cope with the higher expenses now, everything is going to go up as well because where's the money coming from, right? Like if these are let's say for example cleaners that are attached to town councils have to pay more money, they have to get more money somewhere, and everything goes up.
It also affects private companies lah.
Yeah.
So I mean the assumption here is there's more private employees as opposed to public ones, and of course the public one must uphold their own policies lah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, MOM is pretty good at doing that lah. I'm just saying that if you get to a point, I'm not against paying people more. I'm just saying that we have to be ready for the fact that everything will go up when the people who are working at the lowest echelons, they get paid more. So it's gonna end up becoming a kind of equilibrium as well. They get paid more in the event everything goes up, then they end up spending more as well.
And here's so for me,
go.
Yeah, sorry. I just add in one more point because one of my company is a human resource company. I do recruitment, and from last year onwards, upon the announcement, I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but it feels like once the progressive wage announcement was made, there was a movement towards hiring cleaners that were being paid about $3,000. And so these $3,000 cleaners, right? I don't know why suddenly it's like this. Here's my hypothesis. So in the past, cleaners were the group of people, right, that functionally they couldn't find jobs anywhere else. They are usually maybe elderly, they are in debt, something along those lines. Maybe they were former bankrupts, so on and so forth. So then they have no choice but to accept very low paying jobs in order for them to sustain themselves. Then now that there's the progressive wage model has been announced, suddenly people are willing to shell out something close to 2.5 times what was being paid. So the reason for this, my suspicion is, first of all, they will get younger, more productive workers to replace the people that were occupying these spaces. So the idea here being that if I just get one guy, I pay him $3,000 I can then later swap out 3 of my older people at $1,600 per month each. So then, or something along those lines, maybe it's a 2 to 3 kind of ratio or 3 to 1 kind of ratio, whatever it is. So that there seems to be a counter movement to this also, where okay, I just pay more, but then now I expect more productivity, and then of course the consequence of it is that the people that were depending on those jobs now might be facing retrenchment, termination, so on and so forth.
Wait, are we waiting for Reggie to say something?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, yeah, you cannot expect the capitalists to sit there on their.
Yeah, for sure there'll be adjustments,
right?
Yeah.
But in a way, don't you think it's a good thing?
Come again?
But in a way, don't you think it's a good thing? Because for the longest time, all of these so-called labor sort of work, right, like blue collar jobs, have been looked down upon in Singapore for the longest time, because we always outsource it to migrant workers or people with low levels of education. But now that you're paying a living wage and attracting people who are who are maybe not your typical dishwasher, for example, to work there, I think it's a good thing, because you're taking away some of the stigma of working in these jobs.
Yes. I mean, I share that position, in a sense of I don't believe in you got to be kind. It's like fuck, if you pay them more, people will be kinder.
Yeah, I think it's especially in Asian society, our respect is tied to how much money you make. Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, and it's not just that, right? It's also about if you are paid a little bit more, you get access to certain spaces that in the past you couldn't.
Yeah.
And
going back to HDB again.
You get to look a little bit better because you eat a little bit better. You don't need to eat Maggi mee to survive. That, and all these
less medical bills in the
your energy.
long term.
You get to read books. You get to go watch movie. You got to do all these things.
You get to live in better spaces.
Exactly, right. So all these are tied to it. So I'm always very annoyed when some of these some of the leaders go around saying we must be gracious. Okay, I know we must be gracious. I think that is important. It's a kindness movement. You want to set up a moral imperative to be nice to the people, but pay them more lah. Naturally, they will be a little bit better. People will take them more seriously. And things will shift, right? So I think this is a good way forward. But I will question a little bit of the. Are you ready to pay more, right? So this is essentially quite a capitalist way of thinking on should you pay more, right? So I'm not against paying more, to be fair, but why we cannot get the landlord to charge less?
Exactly.
Why we cannot get a company to profit less? Right? Why we cannot essentially?
Why cannot we pay the CEO less? Less big bonuses.
Why must it be the consumer must absorb because we are going to pay the people more? Why can't you earn less? Right?
Why can't the shareholders earn less?
Yeah, exactly. So all these things are these are narratives of you got to be ready to pay more, blah blah. These are very entrenched in capitalist ideas. It's always the workers' fault, right? The labor always has to suck it up. You got to pay more, or you want wage increase. The wage spiral inflation is the joke. To me, that is the biggest joke. Why? Because who determines the price? The business people determine the price. I have a little bit more disposable cash. Yes, I have a little bit more demand. Yes, because I got more money, I want to demand certain things, and suddenly everybody is let out, right? Okay, so yes, we all want to make a little bit. We want to spend a little bit more. But who ultimately determines the price? It's the capitalists. It's the people that are making they make the price decision, right? They just know that there's an increase in inelasticity today, which means people are willing to accept a higher price, then they charge a higher price now. If the consumer will not also go and say, hey, can you charge me more? It will not, right? So who is causing the inflation? It's not a consumer-driven situation. It is the businesses that are setting prices higher because they observe a space to do that. And even, I mean, we are small business owners. We also do that, right? When I observe that, my clients can pay more, I charge them more. Right? It is a structural reality of it. I always find it very cute when people blame consumers and blame labor for this kind of stuff, lah. Yeah, so that is my hot take for today.
The rental situation in Singapore is so fucked up right now. And I was just reading this article about like how expats are moving out of Singapore. Like I think they interviewed an expat from Hong Kong. She moved here. And then now she's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm paying crazy amounts for my rent every month. Yeah. And I have barely enough money left over after that. And then there were people whose rent went up like 100%. Like, going from 600 to 1,002 for just a room in an HDB estate. And then, like these people are like, why am I working so hard in Singapore, paying so much money for rent when maybe I can earn a little bit less elsewhere, but also pay a lot less? It's just insane.
Yeah, and I have some expat friends that are telling me that this thing may be slowing down already, in the sense that some of these properties, because I mean a lot of Singaporeans will not be actively in the rental market, but a lot of the expats are periodically in the rental market, right? So they did say like, I think these few months specifically, a lot of the properties that are out there in the market has been out there for a few months, unlike before. Good. Right? When the property is out, no matter what price, it just gets snapped up.
Looks like it's supply and demand, the X, where the cross meets. So.
Actually, I did hear about this. Apparently, one of my sisters actually is a real estate agent, and she helps people rent out. And one of her clients refused to rent the condo out. It's like, the condo needs to be at this price because that's the market rate, right? And he just refused to rent it out. And then he would rather that the condo sits there empty and not get like his, 3,000, 4,000 a month, instead of asking for 6,000 a month. It's like, I don't understand the logic.
It's like the malls, right? There are malls where they're like so many stalls are empty, right? Because they just refuse to like bring down their rental prices. Because if they do that, right, then the existing tenants will be like, what the fuck? Right? Like I'm paying like, I don't know, like 10K a month, and then here you are renting it out at 5K a month. Right? So it's just like a fuck themselves in the ass kind of situation, essentially.
Yeah. So essentially I think more of us should question this whole rental, like all these landlords, essentially siphoning. I do argue that a lot of landlords are lazy creatures.
Yeah, they're completely.
They are not creating real value in the economy.
The rent seeker type of mentality.
Yes, exactly. So rent seeking activities need to be a little bit more controlled. And I'm not against trying to make some money off rent, blah blah blah. But at some point it gets absurd, right?
I think there's profit, and then there's profiteering, lah.
Yes, exactly. So this is profiteering, rent seeking already, right? Yeah. So this is a part that needs to be solved. We cannot just let the market laissez-faire the way out of it. People need to do something about it, and I hope the government and ministry can try to see how to solve this, right? And which is underpins the idea of like, are you willing to pay more? It's like, why can't they make less? And that's the.
And I think the issue is that we have very little like rights for renters in Singapore. Like even if you sign a contract, right, like you're not likely going to contest it because of the cost of going to court. So, if your landlord just wants to throw you out, they can throw you out, and you generally have no recourse, unless you've got lots of money to go into, I don't know, small claims or whatever.
Yes. And I think the part here is I mean, I understand how we can potentially set up a public, infrastructure around like recourse and like around essentially we get a small little team of like people that, willing to work and then do it under the public spend, right? To like sue the landlords. I understand that part, but a big part of the idea here is because in the past, right, maybe about a decade ago, a lot of Singaporeans, right, they don't rent; they own the HDB. You know, I mean, you can believe whether you are a renter or owner of HDB. That is a different discussion, You know, but
Another episode.
They don't go into the rental market and rent things. You know, they essentially buy directly or rent directly from HDB. So this isn't as much of a phenomenon or as much of a problem. You know, but I think in the recent decade, more and more Singaporeans are in the rental market. Whether is it renting co-living spaces in the heart of town, or renting small little places outside, you know, while you wait for your BTO, or you know, just for the reality that you make a little bit more and you want a private space so that you can stay away from your family, you know. So there's a lot of all these things, and more Singaporeans are participating in the rental economy. So at some point, I do think there needs to be some public infrastructure to sort out this discourse, because like you said, like, you can write all the contracts, but if you're not going to pursue because of the cost, ain't no shit's going to get done, right?
Absolutely. Okay. So part of all the budget, the movement and all that, right? I mean, in terms of progressive wage, so on and so forth. There's also another. So those are like, okay, you are here in this segment of society. Then we get the employer to pay you more. Then now there's the other segment, which is, okay, you've been here for a while, you know, you've been stuck in this industry, so on and so forth. Let's upskill you. Let's upgrade your skill. You know, there's the Skills Future, WSQ, so on and so forth, right? And there seems to be a lot more emphasis in terms of helping workers transition or to find jobs of like either higher value or, you know, some or maybe just move sideways to another industry. So this one was part of the notes that I written for everybody lah. So we finally got to the notes. This is, by the way, this is like part of the course in the Longkang Kitties. I was like, nobody cares about the notes until like all the way until the end. But so the question I have, right, is that is this like a bit too little too late? Are we doing a U-turn, given that, you know, for so long that the emphasis has always been, oh yeah, you know, get educational attainment, you know, just do well in school and then you earn a lot of money. You'll be in the same company for like 20, 30 years and then you can you can rely on your CPF. Like, are we witnessing some paradigm shift within the government? And is it enough? Are they playing catch up? Are they doing enough, or should anything even be done at all? So maybe I start with you, Reggie.
I do think there is a shift, yes, and you know, okay, so I'm a firm believer that there's no such thing as moral awakening. Okay, so I don't think like suddenly inside the people believe that, oh yeah, you know, we should take care of labor a bit better, or you know, we should like empower the people. No, I don't think it's a. Yep. I don't believe in like this one day you suddenly wake up and then there's like a moral awakening. I don't believe in that. Okay, but I believe that this is essentially a response to the ground. You know, where things are no longer functioning. I mean, as with anything, right? You set up a system in your company, it works great, no problem. When shit happens, they'll be like, oh, what happened? Can we change?
It works until it doesn't. So,
yeah, right. So you know, people don't reinvent the wheel every day, lah. So it is a situation where you are seeing more and more people displaced from the work that they used to do, and some of the companies have shifted to other places. We are seeing some sectors shrink. And yeah, more and more people are doing Grab, you know, being in the platform economy, which is why now CPF also need to, like, platform workers also need to pay for CPF, which is a shift in stance, right? That, you know, in the past, the government believes that it's a transition work, that's why don't need to pay CPF. Now, in other words, when you pay CPF, it means that they are taking the platform worker is a thing, right? It is going to be here to stay. There are people that will be career platform workers, but that's a different discussion. Yeah, so the idea here is, I think they shifted because there's a need to, and I think, you know, it is better now than never, lah. Whether is it late or not, there's really, in my view, there's no real point in discuss other than political points. Like, that means if you discuss it, we were trying to delegitimize essentially, like, oh, you'll never see forward, blah 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 blah. But as an individual, as a layman, what happens has happened. Now we move forward. I think it is a better way forward. Whether or not you want to give your votes to these guys, that is your decision, in my view. But they're definitely better than don't have.
How about you guys? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I do think that there is a certain segment of the population that needs to catch up, particularly like the lower educated / older generation. Because right now we can already see a lot of people being left behind with the tech transitions, right? Like for example,
Jerry, you know how to open PDF or not?
I don't know. Shit, I need to go.
Yeah. Go get a WSQ
I need to go to
class,
WSQ.
yeah, but too little, too late. I'm not sure. I think it's better to start than not to start. You know, at some point we have to do it.
I mean, okay, to be fair, you can argue that it's too late in the sense that the groundswell is so bad that now you do it. You know, you can argue from that view that it is too late.
I'd rather they do it
a lot
though.
of shit has happened.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe,
but
I guess
better than ever. Lor.
Yeah, my view in this is that when I say it's too late, what I'm essentially arguing for is that by the time they start now, right, and then the kind of like people catch on to it, it might become a sunset industry. It might turn out that it's kind of a bit like how in the past, I don't like, this is an example that I brought up a lot. The government was like actively encouraging people to become optometrists, and then after that whole thing went bust. Then after they also actively encourage students to go to, what is it, like 3D design, 3D animation. That also kind of didn't really go anywhere. We only have like maybe 2 or 3 major studios, and they're hiring like maybe a couple of hundred people, as opposed to the thousands that went through these courses, and then they end up, you know, selling insurance and whatever. And I've met a bunch of those people. Yeah, I mean, so the fact of the matter is, whenever the government try to course correct, right, they either do the overcorrection or they do the correction now, and then it seems like by the time the fruits are supposed to be yielded, then something else comes along, right? The thunder just gets snatched away, like literally. And this is a pattern that I've seen repeated over and over again.
So maybe like an improvement or upgrade to that would be like teaching people how to learn instead of teaching people a specific skill.
Yeah, which is like kind of like part of the, I mean, that would be like the next part of the question, which is, you know, for the education system that we have right now, where we are so focused on grades, at least in the past like 20, 30 years or so.
Still, I think.
Yeah, I mean now they've like tried to change it a little bit lah. To be fair to them, they are transitioning into something called the SBB, the subject-based banding. Which, by the way, to be like, for that particular initiative, nobody knows whether is it going to work out or not. Like they have this like very like look good on paper type of theory, where students can choose the topics that they are strong in, and you know, it's a little bit like a university or college kind of environment where you like kind of like select your modules and your electives. But that aside, what NG says is correct. Like we have to be taught how to learn. And I don't think that's what the government is doing. They're still kind of like, well, here's a skill, here's how you fix an aircon, go and fix an aircon. Here's how you fix an elevator, go and fix an elevator. Right? And this is my concern when it comes to the government's initiative of like upscaling.
I would say, okay, so right now a lot of like industries, like for example, being a plumber, hot demand. Fixing aircon in hot demand. Okay, if they need to go learn that skill, fucking go learn that skill. You know, because like people are just dying to get all these people, like, you know, like ever since after the pandemic, you know, like construction costs have gone up, renovation costs have gone up, and a lot of it is because of labor shortage. And you know, I would say that if you're a young kid and you have some interest in working with your hands, maybe you could just go pick up like a skill like that, you know. And I think these kind of labor intensive skills are probably gonna serve you pretty well, even up to like what, 20-30 years in the future.
Somebody still needs to clear out the toilet lah.
Yeah,
we
somebody
can't depend on AI for that. At least not at the moment.
You know, my brother's friend is an electrician, and he earns a pretty good sum like every month, you know, because he's so in demand. So he has to like turn away clients. But the other point of it is like teaching kids how to learn. I think we've been just in that educational model where we just fucking shove shit down kids' throats, making them like memorize things and regurgitate on paper for exams, that it's very hard to pivot like the educational industry like overnight. So like it's a very slow like turning. You're like guiding a really giant truck that's super heavy, and you're trying to make a turn.
Even if the education industry can change, parents may not be the receptive.
That was the point.
So parents might not want to change also because they are so like tied into the like my child's worth is tied to his educational results.
And not only that, even if you don't put it that way, right? Like the parents also want indication of how their child is doing, and grades and tests and all these kind of things is a very easy way for them to get instantly. Hey, okay, my child is doing great, or my child is not doing great.
Yeah. So I was having this discussion with a friend because she's also an educator, and then I was looking at all these like sounds really good on paper, and as a person who's empathetic and quite liberal, right, I should be in favor of, like, for example, having kids with special needs in the classes, and like mixing kids of different like learning abilities in the class, right? And then I'm just thinking as an educator, right, like if you have a class of 20, okay, let's what's the classroom size right now? 30.
It's about 25 to 30.
30 kids, right? You just need 1 or 2 kids to be disruptive, right? Before you can't even teach a class, right? And so when you have kids of different learning abilities, let's say I teach ABC, and then I need to spend 10 minutes teaching ABC to like 90% of the kids, and I need to spend 30 minutes teaching ABC to 10% of the kids, right? Like then effectively you are kind of slowing down the progress of most of the kids, right? So and you might also hinder the learning of the kids who have learning difficulty, right? Because you kind of want to progress at a rate where most people can absorb, right? So I don't know if this is actually a great thing.
No, it's not. I've experienced it firsthand.
As an educator, like it sounds so good, right, on paper, because everybody will be like, focus. It's so inclusive, and we want everybody to like mix with different people. I'm like, okay, do that in PE class. I don't know.
Yeah, I've experienced that firsthand for many classes, and it's not fun.
It's really
100% not fun.
So it becomes about classroom management rather than like education. And then the other part is also, we are not just competing locally anymore. We are competing like globally. So when you are not teaching your kids, whatever you're teaching, right? Like, so learning how to learn, or just, learning math, 1 + 1 = 2. If you're not teaching at a rate that is efficient, right, that's going to maximize your students' abilities, then you are actually kind of handicapping your kids, I would say, in a way.
Tuition, no?
We're trying to avoid that, dude. We're trying to avoid that. Like,
tuition, no?
I think tuition is the worst.
Then you WSQ to become a home tutor.
Budget 2024. Tuition scheme.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah. No, but I think at the core it is still a situation where if it's like how a bunch of engineers decide not to be an engineer because they are just not paid properly like an engineer, right? So it's the I sometimes I feel like the discourse of education, right, is so people try so hard to segregate it from industry. Yes. And when you segregate it from industry, then you don't see the broader problem, right? Like education is not a miracle pill, right? It has to be led into the industries, and then this whole thing has to come together. And people that are very good with academics, right, they should flourish in academia, right? And even I think recently, not too long ago, NUS came up with some sort of a, if your family is under, like make how much money below, like essentially like you're a low income family. I don't know, your school fees are being discounted or something along those lines. So essentially that is affirmative action, right? Where if you're good at this but your family cannot afford that, okay, let's double down on it. And I think that's the part that sometimes we get messed up. We go down for the form, right? Like in the sense of like, oh yeah, everybody is inclusive, but we forget that the reality is getting people to do what they're good at so that they can go out there to maximize, themselves and do the most of what they can for their own lives, and by extension means industry policies have to come along and not just to see education on its own. But I do agree that the people need to learn how to learn, and honestly, after working with many people, it's rare.
Do you think it's like an innate skill that can be enhanced, or is it a skill that can be taught?
Learning how to learn?
Yeah.
I think I don't think it's an innate skill. That okay. So I retract the sentence. I think everybody has some things that they are a little bit better off. As to why this one, I don't know. Is it genomics or is it the childhood, how they are brought up and whatever? There's no clear answer for that. But learning how to learn, I think is something that we can all get elevated. Like the median line or the baseline can be moved upwards. But we cannot lie to ourselves that as with any skills out there, some people are just better for whatever reason than others. But the broad line, right, the line needs to be shifted. And I think that's the part that can be taught. On some level, it can be taught. And it comes from the whole structure, right? You guys were talking about school, like whether you ask questions, whether you feel comfortable to ask questions, you feel comfortable to sound stupid, and then how do we like restructure learning processes and curriculums and all that, right? So those things I think are entrenched within the school system, and those are important. But we should not mix it up with like industry policies that they need to come together. But you can teach people how to learn. I believe, yes.
I'd rather just throw money at it.
That's a cost method, right? And we know it doesn't work already on so many things.
Yeah, but I'd rather just throw money. No, that's just my. Yeah, so let's go.
Then you get weird entrepreneurs trying to teach people how to learn. Okay.
Oh no,
John. Now we can do the pain spike.
Oh no.
It's inside joke.
Okay. All right. We are reaching very close to the 2-hour mark of the live stream. Maybe we kind of just like wrap up with some thoughts and opinions as to like how we would like to see 2024 shape up, or what would you like to see particularly change in this 2023 budget, so on and so forth. Jerry, you had the least time so far. I'm going to hand it over to you first. Just some final thoughts, some final notes.
Honestly, it's like that. Every year you see the new budget come out, like you have a lot of comments, you have a lot of thoughts, but what's going to change?
Oh my god.
What's going to change? It's almost like...
Get the fuck out. Bro, of course we are doing this for entertainment, bro. All this is purely for entertainment purposes, okay? We're just here to entertain our
exactly. But I'm just telling you my honest opinion. It's like, you look already as like...
nihilistic motherfucker, you. Jesus.
It's like I think several years ago...
You're like the kopitiam uncle, man.
I am a kopitiam uncle.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
She's the literal kopitiam uncle.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, look.
You're here to provide the kopitiam uncle opinion.
Remember a few years ago, we were talking about, hey, how they kick the can down the road so that the next generation of prime minister is going to solve it. So it feels like he hasn't even gone on to become a prime minister, and is already kicking the can down the road. So... yeah,
that's what we do best, kicking cans.
Throw money and kick cans down the road, yeah.
All right, Angie, any final thoughts?
I think what I would like to see more of is actually investment into like our medical infrastructure. I think currently we are spending like so little money compared to other first world countries. And then as the years go on and our population ages, there are going to be more and more people who will need all these medical services. I'm not sure if we are able to provide enough medical services at the rate that we are spending.
Okay, can I chip in and say this? They already got Nutri-Grade. They don't need medical services.
What?
That's the how much sugar you are. They rank it from A to D.
Oh.
Yeah, so they are coming up with all this initiative to keep you healthy.
By the way, this Nutri-Grade thing is like complete nonsense. There was this lady at the gas station. She was trying to push like this coffee drink to me, which by the way cost like $6 for one drink. Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, the Nutri-Grade on it is B. Then it says no added sugar. Then I take a look at nutrition. It's like 12 grams of sugar per serving or something like that. And then just like, what are we even talking about here? Like, okay, there's no sugar, you don't add the sugar into the drink, but then, there's like sugar from the milk, there's sugar from this, from that, from different components. Then, okay. Anyway, I can go on and on about this nonsense.
Okay, anyways, yeah. I was saying that like, I think we can actively do a lot more for example, just to lower medical costs. Mm-hmm. So for example, in Singapore, I don't think we use generic drugs a lot. So the cost of buying drugs here in Singapore, I mean, like, prescription drugs, okay, not like heroin drugs, all right, is actually very high. So a lot of my friends and then like people that I know, what they do, they go over the causeway and then they buy their generics over there, or they go to Thailand and buy a bunch of drugs and bring it back home. So I think
Consumables.
yeah, consumables, edibles.
Edibles.
And then so like, why are we making our citizens go all the way there to buy things that they should be able to buy here, right? Like, so I think these are like just things that the government can do. Like, for example, just allowing these sorts of generics in so that people can spend less money on bills or even less time going to other countries to buy these things, right? So there are lots of things I think they can do actively without spending a lot of money to bring down the cost of healthcare. And of course, I think they should also pump in money, but this is my biggest concern. Of course, HDB is the other one, but never mind that. That one is a lost cause already.
We have like 12 episodes on HDB. Yeah. All right, Reggie. Chief financial coconut, please tell me your thoughts.
Okay, so I think there is a structural shift that is happening. You know, I mean in the recent budget discussion, you see so many PAP MPs stand up and try to protect capital, right? Talk about like, you know,
don't raid our reserves.
We want SMEs to thrive, all that, blah blah blah. Are we pro redistribution and no pro growth anymore? It's like, stop this kind of stuff, lah. Okay, the idea is we all want to live a slightly better life, you know, and I think a lot of the labor stuff has been put on the backbenchers for a while, lah, right? So you do see in the recent two budgets especially a shift towards taxing wealth, right? Or, you know, whether is it increase in property tax, there's a new increase in BSD, like buyer stamp duty this round for properties at $1.5 million above, which essentially means we're targeting investment property, right?
Yep.
There's an increase in last budget. There was an increase in the tax for non-owner occupied property, which also means we're taxing, you know, investment property, and the supercar tax. You know, I would even argue GST, you know, is not as regressive as how it's being marketed. You know, in the sense that yes, inherently on its own it is regressive, but tax and spend is the idea. The middle class is the one that I'm concerned, not so much the poor in the whole like GST increment structure, which is where we are lah, the middle class. Right? Are we paying more than what we need to? That's the part. But the overall shift is there. You are seeing more taxes on wealth and taxes on like the rich, you know, or you are seeing that happening, and then more spending, you know, on essentially social services. Whether we can spend better, I think there's a big part to discuss. There's usually they don't talk about how they're going to spend it. It's just like all this headline budget, that budget. And then there's no clear like execution. How do we review some of those things? That what we can do better.
At least at the start, normally they will review it once the program rolls out. Then they will publish it in the newspaper and say, but
exactly. So that one we have to let it play out first, right? So this is just for now. But the idea is there. You are seeing a shift in stance, you know. And like I said, I don't believe it's a moral awakening. I think it's a political imperative. They have to do it. If not, they're going to lose out. Right, so which I don't hate, you know, as much as I say all that. I think it is good lah. Finally, Labour has a little bit more, you know, more rights. So in that sense, of course, we don't start on Labour rights. That one will be another 2 seasons. Right? So I do think there's a shift in stance. As much as people can go on and say, you know, things are not changing, but if you really follow how the budgets have shifted over time and how the tax structures has been shifted, there is a shift in stance, taxing the rich and distributing more, you know, it is a change.
I just think that if let's say I don't know, like, can we streamline things to the point where, okay, like we have a little bit less wasteful spending, and then after that we tax a little bit less, because I think for them things like even increment in the the AR, the additional tax for the cars and all that, and so GST, all these kind of things, right? Like it imposes upon everybody, and then so the adage always goes, right? It's like the government takes one whole chicken from you, then gives you back one chicken wing. It's like, can we negotiate for, how about I give you half a chicken and you give me one wing, one drum, you know, something like that. Like that's the so that would be like my standpoint. It's more of like a libertarian kind of like viewpoint, but generally I just feel like whenever we overtax, it's just like super wasteful, and there definitely should be more thought, more oversight on government spending and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's for budget 2023. Reggie, I'm going to get you to plug your stuff, plug your podcast. If you have a website, any like social media, please do a shout out on this channel. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So follow me on the Financial Coconut podcast. We have a piece of content that goes out every day. There's multiple shows running on the same feed. Our YouTube channel, TikTok, it's all at the Financial Coconut, right? So I think TikTok, we are quite viral in these few weeks.
Yeah.
We had a few clips that went viral. So please check out our TikTok, hopefully to grow that, and then we can sell to sponsors. Very capitalistic, yes.
I need you to teach me how to prevent my co-hosts from accepting sponsorships without my knowledge. Because they're just like shilling ayataka and then just like, oh yeah, buy this cream puffs that they're so tasty.
Hey, I didn't shield for this.
This was from where? Don Donkey, right?
I didn't say anything.
See.
Okay, Don Donkey, please sponsor us, alright? We already did the advertisement for you, so give us some money.
Goodness. Okay.
Can we do a preempt kind of advertisement, then knock on their doors? Excuse me,
we advertise first, then we ask for money.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Then they have no say.
It was like that lah. But yes, thank you for having me. Lovely.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Reggie.
Thanks for coming on.
You can feel free to stay, but we are going to touch a little bit more about some administrative stuff lah.
Okay. So I think I will make a move.
You'll make a move? Alright. Thank you so much, Reggie.
Thanks,
Thank you
Reggie.
guys. Bye.
See you.
Bye.
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 Okay, and that was Reggie from the Financial Coconuts. Great
Awesome
guy.
sauce.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yay, we got a guest who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say as well. Like this guy, holy shit, is just a wealth of knowledge, right? Just like, oh, CPF is a colonial vestige.
What
the fuck?
Yeah.
Whoa,
That's
hold
new to
up.
me.
We actually learned something today.
Wow.
That's
We're
nice.
learning how to learn, guys.
Yeah,
right?
nice.
We're learning
That's
how to
very
learn,
nice.
and we're learning it from the best.
So what's our takeaway? We should invite more smart people on, is it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
Definitely people smarter than us, and which is not a high threshold to cross.
Yeah, our bar is actually very low now,
Yeah,
I would
bar is
say.
very low. So please,
Mostly dragged down by 10.
He dragged down our median IQ
our median just rose significantly
without Dan Wong.
by 3 standard deviations.
Thanks for not coming on Dan Wong today. We sound reasonably intelligent, right?
Yes.
For this episode.
Okay, so that will be the budget episode. Right now, we're gonna start. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Valentine's Day quiz that we had.
Before you do that, right? Can I
yes.
just make a confession?
What's that?
I was supposed to post our live stream right onto the Longkang Kitties Instagram to let people know that this was happening. Then I accidentally posted it to my own account. So I guess that's why we have nobody on the stream. Sorry.
Well,
all right.
this is the state of the Longkang. Y'all should know all this by now.
It's
Sorry.
okay, they can watch the later graph.
You
can
what you
listen to
pay for.
podcast later. Whatever.
Yep. Okay. No big deal, Angie. That's fine. Even if you posted, we would have gotten the extra 3 people. I'm sorry to those 3 people who would have watched it had Angie posted. Okay.
Sorry.
So, the winner of the Valentine's Day quiz, which was proposed and organized by our wonderful Longkang Kitty Discord moderator, Natalie. Thank you so much, Natalie, for organizing everything and coming up with the questions. I don't even know the answer to some of these questions.
Yeah, man, I was looking at it, I was like,
I was just like, fuck, man, I am like the person front and center to everything.
I gave up after the second one.
I was looking at it, I was like, I vaguely remember talking about this, but I don't remember what's the answer.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit. I would have failed this fucking
Are we
quiz.
reviewing all the questions and answers?
Can we review the questions actually?
Okay, so let me announce the winner. The winner is Ensing, who score a perfect 10 out of 10.
Holy
shit.
shit.
This guy is the law
Dude.
people, okay?
You are epic.
Epic, okay?
You're better at the Longkang Kitties than the Longkang Kitties.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
Congratulations.
Okay, so actually thankfully Natalie, with her infinite foresight, knowing that there might be ties, set in a tiebreaker question, which was, you're at the kopitiam with one of the Longkang Kitties and you're in charge of getting drinks. Which Longkang Kitty are you with, and which drink will you be getting for him or her, and why?
Wow.
Ensing, even without scoring 10 out of 10, definitely has the best fucking answer to this tiebreaker. So I'm going to read it out. He says he's going to say with Jerry, even though his favorite Longkang Kitty is Spencer.
Good job.
He said, I once heard ginger has analgesic properties, like pain stopping properties, and has the potential to migitate. He spelled it as migitate stomach upsetness and promote digestion.
Yes.
To test this hypothesis, I will get Jerry to drink 1 cup of evaporated milk and another cup of ginger tea, purely as a scientific experiment.
Okay.
Can I mix it?
For the betterment of mankind.
Ginger milk tea.
Yeah. So he managed to squeeze in all the jokes at once, and we have a good way of improving humankind at the expense of Jerry, which is I'm all for it. This is the way to go.
Can we give him like extra something because this answer just blew it out.
Yeah.
The universe.
Yes,
out of the Longkang Kitty universe. This is epic.
Okay. Angie, is your favorite drink Milo Dinosaur with 2 shots of kopi O kosong?
I would have to say I've never had that, but if I actually drank it, I might have intensive diarrhea.
Yeah, you might hear colors and see music.
Synesthesia.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Then after that, I need to try the ginger drink, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. And then Angie, you also were in another. But by the way, only the both of you were selected for getting drinks. Okay.
So nice. But wait, what kind of drinks first?
Yeah. So Jerry, the third one, I believe this is Lydia. It's a Yakult for improved gut health.
No, Yakult has so much sugar.
And then for the last one, Angie, normal Coke, because I want to see her uncomfortable with the sugar level. I don't think you are uncomfortable with...
I actually don't drink Coke. Yeah, I think that would make me very squirmy. Who did this?
I'll tell you later. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay, so anyway, Ensing, congratulations, you are the winner. Thank you for also joining the Discord chat on the night that you joined and for me to shit all over your industry. So the winner of this one will be, I'll contact the fella. They will let us know which of the Longkang Kitty artwork that we have posted is their favorite.
Awesome.
And then we will sign it and mail it to him.
Awesome.
Him or her. In this case, him. So congratulations. Thank you very much for participating. Keep an eye out for future such contests, quizzes, competitions, so on and so forth.
Can I just say that it makes me so like warm inside that someone actually listened to us so intensively and know us so well. Like, I'm just so happy to know.
Okay. So let's go through some of the questions, all right?
Is this where we answer and then get it wrong?
Yes, correct. Okay. So how old will the Longkang Kitties podcast be in 2023?
2023, this year.
7.
6.
It's 5.
Oh, really? I thought we were 5 last year.
Yeah, I thought we were 5 last year. I thought it was 6 last year.
Hey, wait, okay, never mind.
Okay. Like I said, it depends on how you decide when.
Like from the first episode, is
from
it?
the first episode or from the time that Angie and I spoke. So it depends on when.
Okay, if we count like first episode, then how?
It's 5 years.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Did we start
So
at
when we
2018,
when we first spoke is 6, right?
20s, yeah, when we first spoke
Then I'm
is
correct, what?
2016
If we count it like that.
November.
17.
Yeah.
But okay, no, I thought it was from our first episode. But anyways, all right.
Which Longkang Kitty ate an extra portion of Hako?
Oh, all
That's
3 of
me.
you are.
Yeah.
All 3 of us, yeah.
Except me.
I still have some.
Ajuma review livestream episode. Why does Superior John feel that Golden Horse Awards are currently a great opportunity for regional Chinese films like Ajuma to shine?
Oh no.
Okay, here are the options. The lack of participation from mainland Chinese film due to COVID-19 restrictions. The lack of participation from mainland China due to political restrictions. An influx of regional Chinese films due to COVID-19 pandemic. Greater recognition of Asian filmmaking as a whole in the global film industry.
B.
Oh, I don't know, man. A?
It should be B. It should be B.
Is it
But
me?
I don't know. I don't even know.
You
the
don't know the answer?
Question is
Oh
A.
shit. Wait, don't they have an answer sheet or something?
This is one of those times, right, where somewhere deep into the live stream, my mouse will disappear and I can't fucking see anything. I can only scroll up and down.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. So, the next question. Episode 102. The LKK spoke about Vogue Singapore having their permit revoked for promoting alternative lifestyles and undermining family values. What is the world that Dan Cat wants to live in when it comes to traditional family values?
Jeez,
Oh, I remember this one.
A world where aunties and uncles eat cai fan in BDSM gear. A world where he can join the Eye of Shamugam. A world where Monkey Mojo is real. A world where he wins the knife fight with NG Cat.
A.
Yeah.
But I would say his deepest, darkest desire is probably D.
D.
Yes.
Someone put D. I believe that's them wrong. Okay. Kelly Kimberly Chong live stream episode. Which MMA fighter swept Kelly Kimberly Chong off her feet as a martial artist at a martial arts workshop before? Demetrius Johnson, Rod Tang, what? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, Rod Tang. Don't beat me up. Emery Andrew Tate III, or Kate Rutolo.
I think it's
Second
Rod
one.
Tang, right?
Yeah, it's Rod Tang.
It's Rod Tang. Yep. Okay. Which of these reasons are not why there are so many vending machines in Japan according to Danny's search term? So this is the Asian Podcast Festival live episode. Is it convenience, an influx of foreign labor, land scarcity, or low crime rate?
2.
Yeah, if you get this wrong, I'm going to smack the shit out of you. I'm going to smack you into tomorrow. But yes, influx of foreign labor is not the reason. Okay. Episode 103. Which content creator enrolled in Andrew Tate's Hustler University? CoffeeZilla, PewDiePie, Lex Friedman, Bobby Lee.
A.
I don't remember. I really remember.
Okay,
All four are very.
It is CoffeeZilla. Okay, live stream with Imran episode. Which of the following is LKK guest Mohammed Imran Mohammed Taib not affiliated to? Or which of the following is the guest Mohammed Imran not affiliated to? Center for Interfaith Understanding Sifu, Hash Peace, Majus Ugama Islam Singapura Muis, or Roses of Peace?
Moise.
He wasn't? Okay, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
He's not affiliated with Moise. Yeah. Okay. Episode 101. According to Jerry Catt's lecturer, these are the steps to assessing a piece of information objectively. Select all the correct steps. This one is like a multiple choice. Not multiple. You can select multiple options. Look at a piece of information. Understand your emotions and biases. Bring your emotion back if you are making an argument. Summarize your stance. You better remember this.
I don't remember this.
No, that's 4 options, right?
Yeah. No, you can select up to 4.
Again.
Look at a piece of information. Understand your emotion and biases. Bring your emotion back if you are making an argument. Summarize your stance.
Not the last one.
Isn't it all 4?
I think it's not the last one also.
Yeah, not the last one.
But this one also can't be certain. Okay. What was the subject of Dan Catt's... Okay, this is episode 102. What was the subject of Dan Catt's magical moment at the end of the episode? Adoption by gay couple. Malaysian only fan creator Siu Pui, filial cannibalism, or Vogue magazine having their permit revoked.
What?
Angie is just staring at me.
Say that again. My brain just
What
went
was
somewhere.
the subject of Dan Catt's magical moment at the end of episode 102?
Is that the Vogue episode?
I don't even know which
I don't even
episode.
know.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I don't know what episode.
Adoption by gay couple. Malaysian OnlyFans creator Siu Pui, filial cannibalism, or Vogue magazine having their permit revoked.
I think it's the third one.
Probably the cannibalism.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so that's the 10 questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Didn't do so badly, but not all 10. Wow.
Yeah.
Great job to the person who.
Great job,
Ensing.
Great job, Ensing. And once again, thank you very much, Natalie, for coming up with all these questions, proposing it to us or to me. Then okay, yes, please go ahead. And helping organize and helping to collate the results. Natalie, you're the best.
Best moderator.
Don't ever go anywhere, please.
Stay with us.
Stay with us.
谢谢谢谢
Yeah.
Otherwise, the Longkang will be a lot more like fucked up than it actually is. Yeah.
No doubt,
Because
no
we're all
doubt.
like fucking lazy pieces of shit.
Absolutely. Okay. Fantastic. So with that, we shall call an end to this episode. Thank you for you two for joining us today. And then, yep.
Are we gonna have like some fancy fade out music
no,
shit for our live stream?
No, none of that.
Not yet.
We're
Okay,
not.
bye.
We are not like.
Not fancy.
We are not fancy. We are just like pieces of shit. Literally.
Okay, right,
Yeah.
alright.
So, Angie, make a face, and then after that, we will stop the stream. What kind of face is that? You kick side or what?
Excited.
You just said made a face. Like, what kind of face do you want
I'm
me
gonna
to
kick
make?
side face also. Okay,
Alright.
bye guys.
Bye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and